All right, so I'm Kim Adamski, HIV Prevention Specialist at the Hartford Gay and Lesbian Health Collective. We're located at 1841 Broad Street. That's in the south end of Hartford. And we provide STD testing, dental, education, support groups, all kinds of stuff. So if you have questions or want to make an appointment, you can call us at 860-278-4163. Today we have Tony Ferraiolo. Wait, oh no, I'm saying your name wrong. I should have asked first. How do I say your last?
You're cool.
Ferraiolo. Tony Ferraiolo. Thank you. Really should have asked that first, but here we are. And this is another installment of our series on LGBTQ plus experiences with religion. So Tony, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Tony Ferraiolo. I'm a trans youth advocate. I've been doing that work with trans youth since probably for almost 15 years now. I'm also a published author of the book series Artistic Expression of Transgender Youth. I'm a certified life coach, a certified teacher of mindfulness, oh, hold on. Yeah. And just recently in January, I took a wonderful position with Healthcare Advocates International as their director of their new youth and family program. So I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you too. Thank you so much for coming on today.
No problem. So sorry about that, but my little dot machine started playing the Fray and I had to shut it off. I must have heard Echo Fray or something.
Well, don't worry. You'll probably hear my dryer buzz halfway through, so we'll be even. Okay, so let us chat.
Yes,
so did you grow up with a religion and what was it like?
Yeah, so I grew up in the Catholic religion. You know, I said this once publicly and I got a little pushback, but I felt like I was being forced to be Catholic. You know, the little bit that I knew as I got older and realized that at that time I identified as a lesbian and I knew that I wasn't welcome in that religion. And it was never a good experience for me to go to church. It was really I feared the priest. I feared anything to do with that. I used to have anxiety attacks when I was sitting in the pews a lot because this wasn't comfortable. And especially like when you're forced that you have, like, you know, I didn't know the term transgender back then, but I certainly knew that I wasn't a girl. And I certainly knew I didn't feel comfortable in female clothes and being forced to dress up like really, really girly. I mean, it wasn't even like kind of girly. It was like extremely girly, was also bringing anxiety. So as we got older, like I have 3 siblings. In my memory, I remember my parents not even going, but sending us. The only time they would go was at Easter, Christmas, and any other like Palm Sunday, you know. So they would go to the staple masses. It wasn't a good experience for me at all. So that's typically, you know, that was my experience until I just said, I'm not going anymore. And, you know, you and I talked a little bit about the pain that I had. And, you know, for those, I know Lynn might know a little bit about my story, but I didn't have an easy journey. I was very much abused as a child, emotionally, and I was being sexually abused by a neighbor for many years, thrown out of my house sometimes when my father got pissed off enough, and, you know, sitting in the woods cutting myself. And I remember always saying to God, when I felt I believed in God, you know, why was I born? Why are you doing this to me? What the heck is happening? It was extremely painful and extremely sad that here's this being that I'm supposed to believe in, this energy, and they're supposed to be somebody who is really cool. And I won't say he, because I never asked God what their gender identity was, so I'll just say they. But, you know, here's this person or this being that's supposed to be protecting me, and I'm born out of love and stuff like that. And my life at one point, I have to be honest, there was not one adult in my life that I could trust or count on, and there wasn't anybody that wasn't abusing me in some sort. So finally, one day when I was sitting in the woods, my safe place where I used to self-harm, I said, screw this. There can't be a God. If there was a God, I wouldn't be sitting in this pain, you know. And a lot of people don't, I mean, the Self-Made Man, the documentary that was made, I think it's now 8 years ago, didn't really dive into that part of my life because I chose not to talk about it. I mean, when I say this is the first time I'm talking about it, I'm telling you, it's the first time I'm talking about it. So you look at you got really the first time Tony was going to speak about this. But it was because I didn't know, like, it was really hard for me to really sit with self, because to me, to be whole, it's body, mind, and spirit, right?
Mhm.
I didn't have any of that. I definitely didn't have the body that I needed at that time, but I didn't know the verbiage around it. I felt like I was crazy and losing my mind. I mean, listen, my parents sent me to a therapist at the age of 11. You know, I was smoking pot and drinking by the age of 12 and 13.
Mhm.
You know, and it was just a very destructive life. And I remember being so overwhelmed with sadness and so depressed that I would actually punch myself. And and a lot, you know, now I'm talking to the kids that do the same thing, but you know, it was such a frustration to be sitting in a world where nobody loved. I didn't feel loved at all, and I felt abandoned by a lot of people. So is there a God? Absolutely not.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
fast forward to my transition. I knew that what I was told about God through the Catholic religion is that LGBTQ people, no, can't be. You're going to go to hell. How many times I heard that I'm going to hell? And I used to say, well, good, because that's probably where all my friends are going to be. That was my answer.
I think a lot of people joke that, yeah.
Yeah, because honestly, I mean, is that supposed to scare me or something? You think telling me that I'm going to hell is it's going to change who I am? You know, I don't know.
Mhm.
So when I transitioned and I started healing inside, there's a lot of pain. You know, a lot of people, when they see me now and they meet me now, they say to me, "Oh, it must be nice. Look at you. You know, oh, you got a home and you got a good job with an amazing organization doing what you love." Don't judge me for the chapter you walked in on. It took a lot to get here. So I said, I need to do body, mind, and spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was important to me. The spiritual part of it came a lot later. So I'd have to say probably 2000, 2007, I was dating someone and they said, let's go to the United Church on the Green. They're affirming, they're welcoming. I went to one mass and I had a major anxiety attack sitting there. And I had to leave. I couldn't be in that space. I was very scared still. A lot of the emotions came back and I didn't believe in God. So why was I here? You know what I mean? And at that time, I was actually like the token trans guy in town. There was no other trans people. So everybody wanted me to sit on their boards. Oh, you know, you know what I mean? They were like, hey,
interesting way of being popular.
Yeah, interesting, right? So I just started looking at like meditation for self-healing and really looking at the Buddhist way of life. And when I realized that the energy, and I learned this from my coaching certification, it was like a year and a half, that the energy I put out is the energy I'm going to get back. So if I put out love and kindness, then I'm going to get love and kindness back. And I remember really early on saying, you know, what I was hoping that Tony was going to become when I was sitting, and if you watch A Self-Made Man, which is available on Venmo for $4.99 if you want to rent it, because I seen something come up on the screen about that. I went down to the beach to kill myself when I realized I was trans. And then something inside said, create yourself. And I thought about, I could do that. It was up to me to become Tony, the Tony I wanted. What would Tony look like? And I really described myself: tattooed, you know, goatee, artsy looking, bald. Well, maybe I didn't say bald then, but I'm putting it in now. But then I said, like, how would he feel inside? I didn't want to be sad, depressed, angry all the time anymore. And the one thing I said, I remember saying this out loud, was when I stand in front of somebody, I want my energy to just make them smile. That's all I wanted. I wanted to be that light, happy person. And I knew that I had to do a lot of work to get there. Baby stepped it. So now I'm at a point where I'm meditating. I'm listening to Tara Brach, who, I don't know if anybody knows Tara Brach, but she's an amazing, write her name down, Tara Brach, Google her. She's a teacher of meditation, but she's also a psychologist, and she's really good at really guiding people to self-love and acceptance. And then also Brene Brown. I'm not sure if anybody knows who Brene Brown is. I would definitely Google her too, because their message is the same, but their approach is like on two different sides of the spectrum. It's really Brene Brown is very funny and very straightforward. Tara Brach is more namaste type of thing, which I love. I love them both, and they've really helped me. So now I'm sitting in a place where I don't believe in God, but I'm okay because I'm figuring my spiritual journey is going to be meditation, loving kindness. And if I feel like, I always felt that there was something larger than me that was guiding me through my journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sense?
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned like when you were at church as a kid feeling ostracized because of identifying as a lesbian at that time. How old were you when you realized you were LGBTQ?
Oh my God. Well, I realized very early, I think I came out to my mother when I was like 9 or something. I was attracted to some. I knew I was a lesbian. I didn't know the word trans at 5 years old, I said to her, I'm a boy. I'm a boy. And she was like, no, you're not, and that whole pointing the finger, no, you're not. And when you're that old, and back then, there wasn't any resources or any, way to look at somebody else to say, no, really, that's who I'm like Tony. Look at that guy, Tony, that cool life coach. That's what I'm like him. There wasn't anybody, and nobody even was using the words lesbian and gay back then. So trans was definitely not in anybody's earshot. So yeah, I was very young, but I knew it. There was and my family wasn't like LGBTQ friendly either. So some of the language that they were using, I knew that it was a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Catholic Church is probably the group that I hear that the most about, although there are, I think, 1 or 2 accepting parishes in Connecticut, which is really nice to see.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I went on and I was happy there. Yeah, it was good. I was like, okay, cool. Body, mind, and spirit. It's happening. And then I met somebody. I started dating a mom, a single mom of 3. And she was a wonderful person. And she really believed in God. And early on in the relationship, she said, so what's your thoughts about God? I said, I don't believe in God. She was like, what? I said, I want to talk about it. We can agree to disagree, but that's how shut off I was about this. I said, I don't want to talk about it. She honored it. She was like, okay, we don't have to talk about it. Fast forward 6 months into the relationship, she asked me again if I can talk about it a little bit with her. She was just curious on why. Did I ever believe in God? And I said, yeah. I said, but what God would make one kid, a little kid, go through that much pain? What God would do that? I was a cutter. I was homeless at one time for a very short period of time. I was being sexually abused, emotionally abused, physically abused, bullied at school. What the hell? Who would ever do that to a child? It didn't make sense to me. So she said to me, gee, are you sure that, and the way she said it was beautiful. She said, Tony, are you sure that you stopped believing in God, or did you just stop having faith in him? And even when I say it now, I can cry. I was like, oh my God, that's what it is. That's what it is. And as soon as she said that, I went back to one time when I was in the woods cutting myself and I didn't feel alone. Something was there with me, but there wasn't visible. Like, there was an energy around me. And then I started thinking, wait a minute. Too bad they didn't let me in on it, but I really think that God had a plan for me. Look at the work I'm doing today. Look at the kids' lives I'm touching. I had to go through all that pain. I had to go through the pain of self-harm, suicidal thoughts, sexual abuse, being trans, bullied and stuff like that. Because when I sit in front of a kid and they say, well, I cut myself, and they put their head down, I tell them, pick your head up. I cut myself too. What you? I said, yes. And there's nothing to be ashamed about. So there was definitely a plan for me. And I got to tell you, if you ask me, well, are you Catholic? No, I'm not Catholic. I don't know what I am. This is who I am. I'm a guy who prays when I need to talk to God, and when I need to listen to God, I meditate. And that was a quote that I read on Facebook. I think it was a quote from the Dalai Lama that said, when we're praying, we're talking to God. When we're meditating, we're listening. Because I found out very early in my transition, and especially working with kids, that in the silence is where the answers are. If we can sit with self and really open our hearts and souls to receive the message of where we need to go, it's there. But a lot of times we clutter that with our own fears and, and assumptions of what can happen.
Oh yeah, it sounds like that's something that takes a lot of practice.
A lot of practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it sounds like you've definitely found what you needed, which is awesome.
I found what I needed, but man, I wish that nobody has to go through what I went through to find it.
Well, that's why your work is so great.
Yeah. And I'm grateful for everybody in the journey. And I always tell people that I don't look back and say, I wish this stuff never happened.
Mm-hmm.
I honor the journey, even the really horrific parts of it, because we're a blueprint of everything that's ever happened to us. Mm-hmm. Every one of us in the audience, every one of us who's going to listen to this, you are a blueprint of everything that ever happened to you, good or bad. And when I sit with all of you tonight, I can tell you that I love who I am. I have a lot of self respect for myself and a lot of self-acceptance. And I wouldn't be Tony if that stuff didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Which helped me let go of the anger that I had about what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So when you're in your work, do you ever get pushback now from the religious communities or anything like that?
There's a lot of parents that for religious reasons won't support their trans child. Absolutely. There's a lot of times when every time I train, because I do a lot of hospital trainings and I also do a lot of school trainings, but anytime I'm doing that type of training, I always say to people, listen, if you can't separate your personal values from your professional values, you shouldn't be in this career. Mm-hmm. When you walk into that school, when you walk into that hospital, if your religious beliefs think that, trans people don't exist or you can't honor LGBTQ people, then if you can't keep that in your car, mm-hmm. change jobs.
Yeah.
Change jobs. Because that's that's where I get the biggest pushback. And if it's from a parent who really can't see, I can't get them to say, okay, wait a minute, let me just put that aside and support my child. The only thing I can do is talk to the kiddo and say, create a family outside your family.
Yeah.
Until you can get out, think about it. When COVID hit, the first thing I thought about were the kids, the LGBTQ kids that are living in unaccepting homes. Mm-hmm. And also the kids that the only place they can be themselves was at school. And now they don't even have that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. So, it's been tough.
So it's been tough, but some people you can't shift because it's some religions to me are filled with hate.
Yeah.
Because I never understood it. I was like, what does that mean? Here you are. You're supposed to believe in God. God loves every being, but yet you don't like me because I'm trans, because your religion tells you not to. Mm-hmm. That it does not make sense.
Yeah.
When you're shaking your head like it's going to fall off your shoulders. You want to say something? Chime in here. You're on mute. You're on mute.
The dogs are barking too. I'm sorry. Oh no, I get it, and I tend to do that. And I'm so upset at these fundamentalist churches and the way that and our poor trans kids and our church is nothing like that, but it makes me crazy. It does.
Yeah, it's dangerous. I mean, it is literally causing physical, danger. Because some people don't like us enough that they will physically hurt us, for sure.
And I imagine that internalized transphobia and that sort of thing that you've grown up with also harms you physically as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Could you? I mean, it's not even just for trans people. Anybody who doesn't feel a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
We need to belong somewhere. And when you don't feel like you belong anywhere, when you walk into a church where they're honoring and they're praying to a God who is supposed to love every human and care about every human no matter what, unconditionally, and that you're not there, where are you then? Are you not even human? I mean, what's happening here?
Yeah. So here's something I want to get your thoughts on. Do you have suggestions for folks, people of faith, to work to be more inclusive of the LGBTQ community and work on improving their congregation or church's inclusivity?
Yeah, I mean, stand up and be an ally. It's like stand up and don't just be an ally in June.
Oh God, yeah.
You know what I mean? What a concept. I mean, be a super, I call this a super duper ally. And yes, I said super duper and I'm not ashamed of it. Okay. To me, a super duper ally is somebody who stands up for our community when we're not in earshot. It is very easy. If Lynn, I'm going to pick on you because I know you, and Tom. So Tom, Lynn, and I was talking, and we're really cool. And then I go to use the bathroom somewhere, and Lynn says to Tom, "You know what? Trans people, I don't know about that, Tony. You know, trans people, I don't." If Tom doesn't say, "Wait a minute," and is an ally to me at that moment when I can't hear him, that's not that. You want to be a super duper ally and stand up for the communities when we're not around. And
The same goes for every other marginalized community too. If you're not standing up about it, then you're complicit.
Yeah, let your house of worship, if that's what you want to call it, let them know where you stand. Let them know that this is not acceptable, that everybody should be welcomed here, no matter who they are, who they love, or how they identify. And remind them, God loves unconditionally, so should we.
Yeah, our church has, the Congregational Church has something called Open and Affirming, and you have to go through a whole process, like a year.
Wow.
Yeah, talking to the parishioners and all kinds of things. And yeah, we did that about 4 years ago. Well, we just had another meeting too, and we not only, well, we have a gay minister, she's gay, and not only that, but we were talking about, we're trying to include everyone. We were even talking about body type, different, you know, everywhere where people could feel marginalized. That's, you know, that's what we're trying to do. So I wish that more churches could be like that. But.
Yeah.
I think that things are improving, at least, because I do see more and more inclusive churches popping up. So good sign, right?
No, it's a great sign. And change takes time.
Oh, definitely.
You know, and that's why I got to be honest. Like, you know, I never throw out anger, even when somebody's being mean to me. That talk about empowering yourself is when you can be kind to somebody who's not being kind to you. You'll walk away from that conversation gleaming with love and kindness. That's what I wish. But you know, every time there's announcement that something happens with the trans community, just say, you know, when Arkansas passed that law that these poor kids now can't get medical care, my community, I know, is waiting for me to say something about it. They're waiting. And absolutely. I think what they don't remember sometimes is that I'm trans and I get affected by these announcements too. So I always wait, because I never go, I always wait so I can come from a space of loving kindness and empower them and let them know everything's going to be okay. We got your back. Because when Arkansas passed that law, immediately I got 3 messages on Facebook from families in Arkansas saying they canceled my kid's surgery. They canceled their appointment. What are we going to do? Because what people don't realize is, of course, and I know everybody on this call probably does, is that these surgeries and the cross hormones and puberty blockers are life-saving and they're medically necessary. So this isn't just holding back and saying, you know what, you can't start your hormones and we can't do your surgery or give you blockers. These are kids that are actually on cross hormones and blockers that they can't have access to them anymore. That is dangerous.
Yeah, no, studies have shown that because of a law like that, you could have hundreds of adolescent deaths just directly resulting from that.
Well, that's what we're going to see, honestly. Yeah. You know, we're going to see suicides. You know, we always, a lot of us always quote and we always cite studies, right? So in 2018, the American Pediatric Association said that, you know, more than half of trans boys will have attempted suicide in the survey, 29.9% of trans girls, 41% of non-binary kids. But what they also found out was one supporting adult, cuts that risk that an LGBT youth will commit suicide by 40%. One adult, be that person. Even if you have to be that person in the states that are doing this, let this kid know that you're going to do everything you can to support and help them. Because that's what I do. You know, that's what I do. That's the only, a lot of people ask me, Lynn, you know how big the parent group is, right? A lot of parents go there. How do you know what to say? How do you know what to say to my kid? How do you know what to say? I tell them what I needed to hear when I was in the woods cutting myself and there was nobody there. Right? You're on mute. You're on mute.
What would you say to your childhood self at that time if you could go back and talk to them?
I would tell them that you're okay and I got your back and you're going to be fine. You know, walk this path with pride. Walk the path with pride. You know, a lot of times now because of COVID, I can't go into the psych hospitals and visit with kids like I typically do, but I'm Zooming with them. And I want to just give you a really quick example because I'm really pushing this language now. And I thought maybe this is a cool place to kind of talk about it. So a couple of months ago on a Sunday, I received a voice message from a mom who said, you know, this is my name. My son is in at Yale on a psych ward. He has tried to commit suicide 3 times since February and twice since he was inpatient. He has really bad body dysphoria. Oh, my son is 12. When I heard 12, I just cried. I sat in my car. I was in the parking lot and I cried. I put myself together and I called the mom. And this was something she says, finally, somebody is calling me back. She's reached out to so many organizations and nobody got back to her. I am a procrastinator, but I am a super procrastinator when there's a parent who's struggling or a kid that's struggling and they need support, right? I am all over that. And what Healthcare Advocates International's Youth and Family Program allows me to do is do it full time now. Okay, which is awesome. I have so much gratitude for Patty McKnight, the ED. She is amazing. And her and my vision is the same, is that, yeah, you know what? You need to do what you need to do when you need to do it to save lives. So anyway, we agreed, she agreed to have her kid do a Zoom call with me. So here he is, he's got a mask on because now he's still on a one-on-one. He's still in the hospital, but because he tried to attempt, when he was there, they have to have somebody with him. So his social worker was in the room. And I said, hey, how's it going? Okay. I said, hey, first of all, welcome to the trans man's club, you know? And he kind of smiled a little. I always try to make them like laugh or something first. And I knew with this kid, I couldn't wait to like try to drag out of it. So I said, hey, listen, I heard you're having problems with your body. What's going on, dude? What's going on? And just calling a trans boy dude is like you gave him $1 million, right? So he says, like, typically the same language I hear over and over again, you know, I'm trapped in a girl's body. I was born in a girl's body. And I said, bro, born in a girl's body? I said, what the heck are you talking about? I said, it's impossible. He was like, well, I said, you're a boy. You couldn't have been born. I said, let me educate you about bodies. I said, you probably heard that there's only 2 types of bodies, right? Boy, girl, boy, and a girl body, right? And he was like, yeah. I said, no, there's other types of bodies. There's trans girl bodies, trans boy bodies, non-binary bodies, and intersex bodies. You were born in a trans boy's body, dude. What do you need from me to help you feel more comfortable in your body? Do you need a binder? And that's a garment that we put on our chest to flatten it out, just in case somebody doesn't know. Some people say it's like Spanx on steroids. Anyway, and he needed it. He needed that. That's what he needed. So I got in my car with a rainbow bag. I filled it with binders and 2 of my books, and I went down to the hospital and I dropped it off for him. Changed him. First of all, somebody's acknowledging him. And I want to ask the people who are not trans identified on the call, how would you feel if somebody told you you were born wrong? Probably depression, a little depressed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how about if somebody's told you, Kim, that you were trapped in the wrong body? Would that cause a little bit of anxiety?
I would not be thrilled.
Yeah. So what do these children struggle the most with? Anxiety and depression, right? So we have to change the language around that and just gently remind them that they were born in their body, a trans boy or a trans girl's body or a non-binary body, and you're fine, and we're going to help you. What do you need? And when they tell us what they need, believe them and provide it. You will keep them alive. I am telling you, I've done this work for a very long time. And as long as these children feel that their transition is moving, even at a snail's pace, we save them. We save them. That's it. It's that simple.
That's perfect. All right. So we are running low on time. But oh my gosh, this was a really great conversation with you. I really learned a lot. And I really appreciate you sharing this very personal journey with us.
My honor.
So would you be able to provide contact info for folks if they want to get in touch with you, ask questions?
Sure. I'll give you my email.
All right.
Let me give you the right email. It's
Put it in
very
the
easy.
chat,
It's
and I will
my-
also include it in the video description for folks who are watching this later.
And then my website is TonyFerraiolo.com. You can check out the trailer to A Self-Made Man on there. My books are on there. There's a bunch of different stuff on there.
I'll also link the video in the description.
Oh, great.
Folks can get that. And again, I'm from the Hartford Gay and Lesbian Health Collective. My name's Kim. If you have questions for me about our services, about sexual health education, that's kind of my specialty, you can email me at kima@hglhc.org or call me at 860-278-4163, extension 111. And this video will be up on both YouTube and Facebook, hopefully tomorrow, possibly Monday, depends on how my Pride Month is going. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy. Pride Month. Good Pride Month.
But yes, great Pride Month, exhausting Pride Month. But yeah, so this will be up for anyone who wants to rewatch, send it to a friend, anything like that. So thank you so much, Tony, and thank you for all of you who attended.